Okay, so here we are at the bar. So what I want to look at now is two key principles to make sure that we are in control, to make sure that we lose as little beer as possible. Key element here though is to understand the two principles. As I repeat myself, one is the equipment and the other one is us as a bar. So the equipment. Now here we are standing in front of a couple of Porter Lancaster and pillar fonts, a branded font here for the Moretti, and we've got the Heineken ones just to my left here. My question is though guys, even though you may have different arrangements on the bar, whether it be T-bars, whether they be over the top bars, whether high T-bars, low T-bars, or indeed pillar fonts with maybe 1, 2 or 3 ad, actually who owns this kit? Are your taps in your pub set up correctly? So this is what I want to just quickly talk about, because if they're not, we need to do something about it. So what I'm actually really interested in now is both the temperature of the beer in the glass when I pour it, and also the speed of dispense. And that is what I refer to as the beer specifications. Some of you might talk about when you pour a pint of beer, clean glass, branded glass, absolutely. But what I'm talking about now is the physical setup, with this balance between temperature and pressure. Okay, so how do I check that? Well, it's quite simple. All I do is I get a watch or stopwatch, right, because I need to know, right, the time is set up. Now, I've got lists here of all the brands, the major brands, which you'll be able to see and access on the course. Right, I've got a list of all the brands, but on that list there is the time taken to pour a pint of beer. So Amstel, I happen to know, should pour between 15 and 17 seconds. If it happens to be John Smith's Extra Smooth, that actually is 18 to 22 seconds. So they all differ, and I'll explain why they differ in a moment. But what I want to do is I just want to check. So I turn it on, right, and I now start to pour it. So you can see here the angle of the glass is a nice tight angle, and what's interesting to me is I've now got beer pouring into beer. So actually it looks very stable. When I pour beer into beer, it remains stable. If I start pouring beer into the head, that's when it starts to foam up. But as I get towards the top of the pint, I will then apply the portal tap and look at my watch, and I can now see that it has taken 15 seconds to pour. So actually I now know this has been set up correctly, because I've got a nice pint of beer, nothing's gone into the drip tray, and I've got a nice tight creamy head using the portal tap. Right. The head to me is very important. I'll just briefly talk about the head, in the fact that actually what I'm looking for are very, very small stable bubbles. The smaller the bubble rather, the more stable it is, the longer it will last. Hence why the portal tap is such a great idea, because what it's doing is putting these very, very fine bubbles onto the top of the glass. So what I would like you to do, ladies and gents, is when you go to your pubs, is have a look at the list, find out what the specification is for that product, and I need you to try it. And the reason why is because I've got to make sure that the gas pressure, right, that is actually put onto the beer in the keg, right, is imbalanced with the amount of gas that the breweries put into the beer in the first place. So you should be able to pour beer with a beautiful stream of clear beer, no bubbles in it, no fobbing. If there is fobbing, then something's wrong, and that's when we need to ring up in serve.